I knew something was wrong when I saw a portable toilet sitting in my own driveway. 9 days on a work trip, an early flight, and I drove straight home instead of waiting near the airport. Cars lined both sides of my street. White ribbons hung from my trees. A wooden sign beside my mailbox read, "Welcome to KAYLA and Josh's Forever." My younger sister was getting married in my backyard. No one had asked me. My name is Brooke Lawson. I was 44, widowed, and the legal owner of the property my family had apparently decided was too beautiful to require permission. Before I tell you what I found inside my own house that day, drop a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from tonight. My husband Peter and I built that garden together over 12 years. After he died of a heart attack, caring for it became part of how I kept moving. When Kayla got engaged, she asked to take photos there. I said yes. Then she asked about hosting the ceremony under the oak tree. I said no, gently. Not insured for events, limited parking, I didn't want 200 strangers in my grief. She said she understood. A month later, my mother asked if I'd reconsider for a smaller guest list. I said no again. Then Kayla announced she'd booked a vineyard for June. The subject seemed closed. It wasn't. My family had invented the vineyard story because they believed I'd eventually cave. When I didn't, they simply waited until I left town. Stay with me, because what the wedding coordinator showed me on her tablet turned this from a family overstep into something with my forged signature on it. Standing in my driveway, I called my mother over the sound of music blasting from my own backyard. "Please don't do anything dramatic," she said. Inside, furniture had been shoved against the walls, my dining room stacked with rental plates, and the framed photo of Peter removed from the mantel and placed face down in my study. A coordinator wearing a headset asked if I was with the groom's family. I told her I owned the house. Her face fell. Kayla had given her a signed venue agreement authorizing everything. My signature had been copied from an old rental form. It listed a $1 fee, claimed I'd be out of state, and named my mother as my property representative. 160 guests. Screws already driven into the oak trees exposed roots for a wedding platform. My flower beds flattened under electrical cables. Kayla ran toward me in her robe. "You're not supposed to be back," she said. Not hello, not I'm sorry. When I asked if she'd forged my signature, she said Mom handled the paperwork. My mother insisted we discuss it after the ceremony, that stopping now would humiliate Kayla. "You counted on humiliation to force me to accept it," I told her. Kayla admitted, finally, there had never been a vineyard. She knew I'd refuse if asked directly, so she gambled that I wouldn't destroy a wedding already in motion. I called the sheriff's non-emergency line. My mother grabbed my wrist. "You'd call the police on your own sister?" "I'm calling because 160 people are trespassing under forged permission," I answered. The coordinator, facing her own liability, shut down the alcohol and the propane burners immediately. I nearly let a shortened ceremony happen until I watched 2 workers drag a speaker across the stone path Peter had laid by hand, and one of the stones cracked. Every compromise my family asked for depended on pretending the damage started only once I enforced my boundary. It had started months earlier, the moment my no became a problem to be engineered around. I made everyone leave. Josh's own grandfather apologized to me on his way out. His family had been told I'd offered the house as a gift to help myself open it up again after Peter's death. My grief hadn't just been ignored. It had been used as the marketing pitch for stealing my home. Here's something I'd genuinely like your take on. If your family used your own grief to justify taking over something that mattered deeply to you, could you ever really trust their apology afterward? Let me know what you think. Repairs came to over $32,000. Cracked oak roots, ruined irrigation, a missing bedroom door, scratched floors. My mother had paid deposits using a shared account with my father, who claimed he thought I'd secretly agreed. The wedding company's insurer initially refused coverage since the agreement was fraudulent. My own homeowner's policy denied event damage. I hired an attorney. Records showed my mother had represented herself as my authorized agent, using my driver's license, pulled from a folder in my own desk during a prior visit. Josh postponed the wedding, then learned Kayla had lied about the budget too, using his credit card while blaming a venue fee I supposedly demanded. Their engagement ended 2 months later. Kayla blamed me for destroying her future. I didn't have contact with my mother or sister for over a year. I rebuilt the garden with friends' help. The coordinator, mortified despite being deceived herself, sent a crew to fix the stone path at her own company's expense. We placed the cracked stone by the pond as a small bench. My father reached out first, apologized for avoiding conflict with my mother his whole life, and helped repair the shed. My mother's first apology minimized things. Her second, months later, finally admitted, "We believed that once the wedding looked real enough, your no would stop mattering." That was cruel. Kayla and I remained distant, though she entered counseling and repaid the settlement. Over coffee, she finally admitted, "I thought because you had something beautiful, you should share it." I did share it, I told her. I just didn't give it away. I still host small dinners in that garden, even one real wedding, for a friend, with actual insurance and an agreement we wrote together. Permission didn't make that day less loving. It made the love safe. A beautiful home is not an invitation. A widow's grief is not leverage. And you don't owe anyone access just because saying no makes their plans more expensive. If this story held your attention, subscribe to Unheard Drama Stories and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what you'd have done in my position.